Welcome to the WCS America Premier League, round of 32. I'm Axslav here with Mr. Rotterdam, casting live from New York City. How'd you like that first series?
It was quite something, man. It was quite something, perhaps. Not really what I expected, but I did enjoy it overall. But I'm really looking forward to the next series. I think Goswser has really proven himself as, without a doubt, one of the best North American Zergs in the last 5 months. Of course, there are quite a few others. I mean, Soppy is really good, Scarlet is amazing, and of course, Idra is still really good as well. But Goswser has been making a lot of noise, and certainly his ZVZ is really interesting, and I have a lot to say about it later on as well. And he's going to go up against Revival, someone... You know, as much as it pains me to say, haven't really impressed me actually. Since he joined EG, I expected a little bit more out of everything. Because I always kind of felt that Revival and Hyun kind of went like hand in hand. But I think it's safe to say that Hyun has had much better results than Revival.
I mean, yeah, definitely. If you just look at, you know, Hyun's competing in tournaments over in Korea, the GSL, he's just had so much success. Revival is one of the few players EG's picked up who, you know, before they picked him up, he hadn't really had any big wins. Nope. I mean, they picked up Alive, of course, who's won the IPL event. But Revival, you know, he's placed highly in events in the past, but over the last 2 years or so, he really hasn't had any big wins. So coming here to WCS America, he's definitely going to be hungry because everyone respects this guy as being one of the top Zergs. But it's just, you know, he hasn't proven himself to be, you know, beyond just a Korean pro Zerg.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, he's just one of those guys that everyone knows, like, yeah, Revival is obviously a really good Zerg, but what has he really won? This is a tournament where he should be able to do really well. He has been in the EGTL Pro House for a little while, over there in Korea, of course. His Pro League record, I believe, is 4-9, which is not the best, but that's mostly because he's weak against Protoss. Well, lucky Revival, there's not a single Protoss in this group. He went 2-3 against Zergs, but then, of course, you're playing against the best Zergs in the world, which is something different than, of course, Goswser is amazing, but he's no Solky, Roro, and those guys. So, yeah, we will see. I'm excited, but as you said, I think this is really a tournament where Revival has to shine. Like, if you don't do it here, like, where are you going to do it?
That is true. Of course, this is one of the biggest tournaments out there. He's going to be going up against Goswser. He talked a little about before as being one of the guys who's improved the most in the last 5 months there. And so, almost similar to Revival, he hasn't had those big tournament wins. But people have seen him. He's been able to compete with the top Koreans in the last several events. Yes, he hasn't won them, but he's been taking maps and series off of some of the best players in the world. So he definitely has, you know, the skill to compete up there.
Yeah, just very recently, Goswser actually attended DreamHack. Unfortunately for him, he went out despite having a 2-1 or best of 3 score in the second group stage. But he was in a group with Jaedong and Saze. He did defeat Saze, lost against Jaedong in the ZVZ. But he just wrote me before as well, and he said, like, actually picked up really good wins in ZVZ ever since. So I'm feeling pretty confident, and I think I'm ready. So I think that's good news, man.
That is good news. He also actually said a few things to us before this match about how he feels the group's going to play out. Of course, we can take a look at some of his words there. He said he's not afraid of anyone. So exactly what he was kind of saying to you. He's feeling good. On a good day, he can beat just about anyone. Of course, there's the other side to that coin as well. It's also possible to lose. And when he's talking about who he thinks of the non-Koreans in WCS America who are going to have a good shot at placing highly, he's talking about Major, Scarlet, Huck, Hello Kitty, and himself. And while we've seen Major and Hello Kitty unfortunately fall out, they both put up a very good showing. Scarlet has already advanced to round of 16, and we'll get to see if Huck can follow suit tomorrow.
Huck's actually in a really interesting group tomorrow as well with Sen, Crank, and Kaposh, which I think is really cool. Or how do you say it? Kapoch?
Kapak, I think.
Kapak?
I'm not positive.
Okay.
I'll double check on that.
We should know, because this guy's been around since Warcraft 3 times. Like, here we are, 2 Warcraft 3 casters, not knowing the name of this guy. It's a little embarrassing.
It is.
Forgive us, Kaposh, if you're watching. If not, next time beers on us. So it seems like the boys are almost ready. We are ready. If we talk a little bit about the styles, now I have to admit that I'm not super familiar with the Revival ZVZ style. I think we're going to see pretty straight up ZVZ. And of course, we all know that Mutalisk is pretty much the flavor of the expansion so far. Everyone loves going Mutas, but there has been exceptions, and Goswser is one of those players who likes to play different. In general, he likes to be extremely aggressive with Ling Baneling, and I'm not talking about 20 drones, but more about the mid-game where he takes a turret base quicker than his opponent, and just kind of forces the opponent, who is the Muta player, to use the Mutas defensively all the time. And it's a really fun, interesting playstyle to see. And then slowly but steady, he just tries to keep denying this turret base, keeps denying. Then eventually he's going to get a much better economy, and slowly but steady transfer into like Roach, Hydra, Infestor, and in that way deal with Mutalisk. Now I'm not sure if he's going to do that today. Of course, he might just be, by now he might say like, hey, you know what, all the guys were right, Muralisk is better. But it is very likely that we're going to see a very aggressive Goswser user after 2/3 bases with low economy, and he's going to try to make it very hard for his opponent in that phase of the game.
Well, the man who may have a few creative builds up his sleeve, over here to top left corner of Whirlwind. Goswser user.
Whoa. Look at this, look at this. I see.
Pretty sick.
I know, right?
And of course, his opponent,
Ooh.
who may be trying to catch him off guard with some early Zerglings over here at the bottom left hand of the map. EG's Revival.
The first Overlord is actually heading in the right direction. I'm not sure if that's in time to spot links. Actually, I think it will be, right?
It will be,
So that's really going to make his life a little bit easier. It would make his life a lot easier if he actually is going to make the spawning pool before the hatchery. Let's see if Goswser user is going to be a little bit greedy or if he's going to play it safe. Ah, it seems pretty safe. Spawning pool 15. This should be reasonably well for Goswser user.
It really should be, you know. The early spawning pool is one of the builds that's actually most popular on Whirlwind. And it's kind of funny because it's such a big map, people think it's not as good. But because there's 4 locations, there's a very high probability your opponent won't scout it until it actually gets to their base. Unfortunately, the way Goswser did send his Overlord, he is going to be at a spot this spawning pool coming. So a little bit unfortunate for Revival there, but he still has a lot of chances in this game. It's really going to come down to how well both players micro their units.
Oh, the hatchery does go down though, so it's still going to be a little bit hard for Goswser user to keep that hatchery alive. He's going to see these slow links, march across the map. Of course, Revival knows as well where, well, did he actually drone scout? Well, he did drone scout, so he really sacrificed a lot of economy early on to make this happen. And what do you think he's going to do? Just force a cancel on his hatch and be satisfied? He's kind of going to have to do more than that, though.
I don't think he can do more. I mean, the distance of this map, by the time he gets to Goswser user's base, Goswser user is going to have his units coming out. And this is also one of the maps where there's several positions that drones can hide in a pocket in the minerals where Zerglings can't even approach him. So he's going to have to just try to get the hatchery cancel. If he does get the hatchery cancel, it's going to be, he's going to be slightly behind, but it's going to be very, very even, as he will have a few more Zerglings. He's droning up behind us. Goswser user is going to try to save that, but I don't think he's going to be able to.
That's going to be very tough. But he's also taking absolutely no economic damage. He still has more drones in the main base. He doesn't end up losing this drone either. There are 10 links out on the map. There are 8 links right now for Goswser user. But he's going to have a spine crawler. He's going to have a queen. He is more than fine. So I actually right now we see the hatchery going down a little bit quicker for Revival. So that is the only advantage that the evil genius Zerg is going to have over his opponent.
I really like Goswser user's decision to cancel that spine crawler. Of course, it gives him a lot of minerals back and the drone in a low economy game. Every single drone and mineral is so important. And with the queen there serving as extra defense, and with some Zerglings of his own, it was totally unnecessary. As soon as he saw that Revival went expansion instead of going to Banings.
Goswser is making a lot of links, and he's still making links. It seems like he's going to try to make something happen over at least super early, because he's perhaps thrown off a little bit. He say like, alright, if we're going to play like this, I'm going to try to do the same thing in return. So far, Revival, actually he's not aware of all these additional links being produced. He doesn't even have an Overlord over here, so he doesn't see the hatchery is not yet going up. It is right now, but this is a large amount of links. If you take a look at the production tab, it's 18 against 10, and speed is so much quicker for a Goswser user as well.
It is. This is a great move if you know you have an economic advantage, but your opponent has a faster hatchery. Because if you both sit back and drone, they're going to have the hatchery up first. They can take better advantage of the drones. But if you put under pressure, they can't build drones. So even if they defend, they're forced not to really be able to utilize that extra expansion.
There are 2 queens over here, so I do not think that this is a fight that Goswser user really wants to take. It's going to be so hard. Those queens have so much HP. Yes, he does have an overwhelming amount of links, but slowly but steady, his link count is dwindling now as well. I do not actually like that Goswser user took this fight. I do not think that was a very good decision.
He probably should have backed away, waited for speed. He was pretty close, though. If he could have gotten 1 or 2 of those queens, it would have really given him an advantage going forward. But I mean, he had to anticipate Revival was going to continue producing Zerglings to reinforce it. His defense is there. And one thing to note is Goswser user's Zerglings are actually worth more than Revivals because they're going to have speed soon, and a speeding is worth more than a non-speeding.
Completely agree. I have to applaud the Revival though for already way in advance bringing down his queen of the main base down to the low ground. So if speed would have been already ready, he would still be able to block the ramp, or if it would just be a slow ling attack, he would have that additional firepower and of course a lot of extra HP to absorb damage. That was very well done, because for a while he didn't have a queen in the main base, but completely worth it. So I have to applaud the Zerg there.
A little interesting dynamic here where Revival has 4 queens and a lot of defense, and he's doing all this because he got gas so late. He really just focused on minerals, which means that he won't have the speed needs, he won't have the banings, so he's going to have to use the spine cores and queens to defend. And he's also, of course, not going to have map control, but he does have a lot of economy right now. Goswser is trying to morph in banelings, but I don't know if he can do too much damage against all these spine crawlers.
7 banelings means that it's quite the investment. It also means he's going to have to do quite a bit of damage. There are queens on the ramp. They have quite a bit of energy as well, so they could potentially transfuse. What does he really wants to blow up? There are no drones right now on the low ground. Good trade right there for Revival. Revival's like, all right, let's do that 6 more times.
Goswser is looking for drones. There's none to be found, though. These banelings sacrificed their life for that scouting mission.
So well done by Revival. I mean, Goswser is of course hoping to find drones over there, but the Revival ain't crazy. He's like, alright, if you make all those banelings, I'm just gonna keep my drones in the main base for a little while. Now there are a couple of drones on the low ground. Goswser is doing a really good job picking them off. So far 2 drones went down. That was worth it for a couple of links.
Look at this Goswser hiding mass speed needs in his natural. He wants to catch Revival off guard, and Revival has been building nothing but drones for the past 30 seconds. I mean,
he does have a lot of defense already. There are
so
3 spine crawlers.
And there's like 18 transfuses. Or maybe only 7.
Yeah,
so.
17 I think.
Yeah. This is going to be very hard to break. The spine crawlers are all spread out, so banings can't hit 2 spine crawlers at once.
One little ambitious baning there. No, the drone is low HP. Is like, you know what? I'm gonna go for the safety. I actually have health insurance. I'm gonna become a spine crawler.
Oh, Goswser taking advantage of that forward spine being a little bit far forward, picking that off. Queens guarding the ramp, and it's so important those queens.
Oh, that's a lot of banelings though. 12 banelings, 21 speedlings. How well are these queens? And spine crawler is going to do?
Oh, no transfusions on those spine crawlers.
I think this is good enough. I think Goswser. Oh my God, he's gonna get in.
Oh, the queens get surrounded. Those 2 queens could have held their ramp for quite a long time with the energy they had, but now they're gonna fall.
Yep. Where are the units from Revival? Is he actually producing units or not? Still not a single Zergling out on the map. This is over. I mean, he's producing 14 links now at once, but it doesn't really matter. There are so many speed links in the main base of Revival, and Goswser with an unordinary tactic here, keeping all those links in his natural for such a long time. Kind of gambling a little bit, but eventually it did pay off, because there's just no way Revival is going to defend this anymore.
That was a really neat move. No Zerg would have thought their opponent would go for a bust when they have that much stack defense. Goswser catching Revival totally off guard, and he just massacring the entire main base here.
Yeah, there was a 15 to 16 drone lead right now, but of course that's all gone. Now all these drones will fall. A couple of additional links spawn, but it doesn't matter. Millennium Goswser takes the first map over Revival. It's been kind of a wild game, like basically from start to finish. With a 10 pool, you always kind of force already like weird games. It's like, alright, I counter, you counter. But I have to admit as well, if I were to Revival, after killing all those slow links early on, I wouldn't have expected that much aggression. And not just once, but twice. Like first the 7 bailing, which did absolutely nothing. And then Revival's like, alright, now I'm super safe. I'm gonna make so many drones now. And then, wow, crazy play.
You are never safe against Goswser. This guy can attack at all the crazy timings. He knows exactly when you may be the weakest. And Revival really caught off guard there. You know, that was a very bold move by Goswser because he had map control. He could have played a macro game. He was down by like 2 drones after that first attack, so he could have probably droned up, taken a third. And but he says no. I think I'm very confident this mind game can work, where he thinks he's defended, and then I just cash a whole bunch of speedings in the corner.
It was basically like a triple attack by Goswser. First the slow link, then like the, okay, we have 7 bailings, let's see what I can do with that. And then the Revival was like, I know what you're up to. So then he like pulled the drones away. It was really awesome play. Revival played so well, but then he really didn't anticipate on like 16 bailings and 40 speed links, which I can't really blame him for, because hey, I didn't see that one coming either.
It's like that old the old gambler's trick. You keep doubling down, right?
Yeah. That's what I always do in the casinos, man. It's like, next time it has to be red. Like, it's never red.
You and Goswser would get along, right? The first tech doesn't work and go for twice as much.
We actually do get along.
Well, let's see if he uses a similar tactic at game number 2. We'll be right back after a short break.